Well, we're back on the boat briefly. It is the next weekend after the video I showed you from last week when we brought the boat here. And I just wanted to come back. Well, we had to drop off a couple of things. I just want to make mention of a couple of comments and questions that I had on that last video. Now, the first one was, which a couple of people brought up, given the fact that we're going to be in a covered slip rather than an open slip as we've been the last few years, a lot of folks suggested that we may have a problem with spider poop and or birds. Actually, you know what? The first video I ever filmed on this channel 15 years ago, we were still in a covered slip 2 marinas ago now. Now, the problem that we had there, the issue that we had there on those covered slips, the roofs were really low and there was a lot of what were those things called, those birds that flew around in there?
Oh, barn swallows that would nest.
Yeah, barn swallows, yeah, and they would nest. They would make those mud nests up in the rafters, and those things shit in flight. So when they did, they were hitting the boat all the time, and it got so bad. One season we actually had to put a tarp on the boat. When we would leave on Sunday, I'd throw a tarp across the bow of the boat, and then take it down on Fridays when we got there, which got kind of lame after a while. So we are well aware of that. And also, we were in this the marina prior to that for 9 seasons. We were in Keswick Marine, and the issue there wasn't a big problem, but yeah, we got spider shit on the deck of the boat quite a bit, and so that was a weekly routine to wash that stuff off. So yes, we are more than well aware of the bird shit and the spider shit potential in covered slips, but I don't think it's going to be near as bad once we move over to our full summer slip. So just to reiterate where we are here now in this section of the marina, this is only our winter slip. Just back up just to say that we had taken the slip. It was kind of last minute decision to come here, and this was the only spot that was available for us for winter storage. And again, we're going to be moving out of here in the spring, shortly after the boat is launched and the slip becomes vacant. Where we're going to go over to, we'll move over there. Now, the roof line is quite a bit higher there, so I think there's going to be a lot more air movement, so that will probably deter the spiders and hopefully the birds as well. I did notice along this section that there are a number of boats, like a handful, that have tarps on them already, like our next door neighbor, so I think they have had an issue with poop in the past. But like I say, we've experienced that ourselves, and not only in covered slips, but our open slip like we had in the last marina where we just left. Yeah, birds, boy oh boy, goose shit on the boat, on the grass all the time. That was a constant battle. Seagulls flying overhead and whatever other creature. We actually had our boating neighbor 2 doors over from us. He had a dead fish on the bow of the boat one Friday when he got there, and we suspect it was one of the ospreys because they do a lot of fishing there, diving, grab and pick it, and it probably lost it and it dropped down. It didn't see it, and it landed on his boat and died. So yeah, so there's bird shit and dead fish. You don't want to see too much of that. So yeah, it's a trade-off. Also, somebody else commented that in this marina in particular, where we're going to be going, there's an issue with what is called duckweed. It's just small, tiny little plant that grow on the water. But man, oh man, we can live with that, because our first marina that we stayed in for 9 seasons, again back in Keswick, duckweed was so thick and so severe there that by July, let's say, it would start to accumulate in the docks that were farthest away from the river, and it would start to rot, and it was stinky.
And Barkley just kept walking right off the
Barkley, that's a good name.
Yeah, he just kept walking right off the lawn, right onto the duckweed. I guess he figured the grass was still going.
Yeah, Barkley. A boater at the time who was in that marina, he had a dog named Barkley. He was a cute little guy, and like Anchor Girl said, he just walked right into the water one day, because to him as a dog, he just sees grass and he just walks along, and all of a sudden the grass gave away from under him and he fell in the water, because that, like I say, that duckweed was so thick. Yeah, so we know what it's all about. So the duckweed we've seen really bad. Our last marina had thick weeds growing so bad that again by July it would be so thick, August for sure, that it would actually not kill the boat, but it would wrap around the props trying to back out of the slip, and it would walk the boat sideways.
Sometimes you'd just get stuck in it and not be able to move.
Yeah, that you could. Yeah, there'd be times too. You just throw the boat in neutral. You're not going to move, and because the boat's not moving, it was so thick. They actually had machinery over there to chop up the weeds and pull it out and get rid of it. So that was a constant thing. So
It doesn't matter where
it doesn't matter, exactly, like Anchor Girl just said. We looked at maybe moving marinas not only this summer but in years past, just discussing maybe go to Georgian Bay or whatever. Doesn't matter where you're going to go, there's going to be issues. There's going to be good and not so good at any and every marina anywhere in the world. And you guys know we've done a lot of travel, did the whole Trent Severn Waterway, Michigan, Ohio, like not traveling but being there by boat. So everything has its good points and its drawbacks. Now that said, we are very, very happy. Again, I have to reiterate that. Doesn't matter what it is, be it cost, birds, weeds, whatever. Spiders. We're happy with what we have here. We are so happy to have been able to move away from the experience we had in the last marina. I'm not going to get into it, but just say that it didn't make for a very, very happy season there. So we're super happy here and really, really, really looking forward to moving forward, and next summer in particular. So we got all the beams over here. Obviously they've done that during the week, getting ready to lift the boats. And by the fact that they've already started on the other side, let's say, I don't know, probably towards the end of next week, they should probably be over to this side, I'm gonna guess, but I will find out. And like I said, try to be here when the lifting actually starts of the Boogaboo boat. That would be awesome to film that. So talking about spiders and marinas, the place that I referred to a couple times, Keswick Marine, where we were for 9 seasons, where we had the duckweed problem and such. I was actually there. My parents had a boat when I was a kid from the early 70s to the late 70s, so a little bit, I don't know, 6-7 years. They had 3 different boats there over that time. And the dock spiders were so big that I have my middle sister, she was petrified of them, and she didn't even want to walk down the dock because they were ginormous. Again, I think the roofs were a little bit lower there, and it was much more confined. It's not like it is here where you have a set of slips and then backs onto the water, or sorry, backs on to land and grass. That configuration was you had this side, and on the other side you backed on to another set of docks, finger docks, and so there was a big roof area, and I think that encouraged the spiders. And part of that structure was really, really old. It was already 30, 40, 50 years old when we got there in the 70s. And so there were huge dock spiders, not unlike the ones that we've seen down at Lakefield Lock. Beautiful creatures, but big. So much so, they were so big, and like I say, it terrified my sister, and she was really worried about those things and paranoid. So there's that too. Yeah, we survived, and we had an enjoyable time with our kids boating out of there, and yeah, it was a great time. So that wasn't a big issue for us. Wasn't an issue for me at all, because spiders don't bother me. But even at our last marina, being out in the open,
there was tons of spiders.
Yeah, we always had tons of spiders on the last 2 boats, and this one as well. And I think the situation there, let me spin this around, is, since they're out in the open, they come and they climb up and they get into little spots like this, little spots like that, and the dock lines and the fender lines, you could see there would be spider shit on the deck of the boat just below them, because they would climb in there for protection, obviously, and
cobwebs always.
Yeah, and cobwebs too.
Bow rims.
Yeah, so there's that. So that was out in an open slip where it rained. When it rained, we had torrential downpours there many, many times. You would think it would just wash all those creatures away, but they didn't. So I'm not going to say it was a fight or a battle, but again, it was something to contend with. It didn't bother me. It was just part of boating and part of life. So, like I started off by saying, doesn't matter whether you're in a covered slip or an open slip, or this marina, that marina, or this marina, or if you're here in Ontario, or in Florida, Europe, Australia. Hello, my Australian followers. Yeah, you're gonna have positive and not as positive, and it all depends on, I think, your tolerance level and what you think is best for you. For me, best is coming to the boat and not having stress and not having issues, not having situations.
I don't have to clean up goose shit every day.
Yeah, like Anchor Girl just said, our last marina, it was this past summer, goose shit, incredible amount, where it was always get out of the car. It's like, watch where you're stepping because there's goose shit. We don't want to track it onto the boat. And Anchor Girl had to clean it up every time we got there on the weekend. So there's that. We don't have to deal with that here. And I must say that the lawn is really attractive here. Don't know what they're doing because it's an ultra clean marine certified. I think platinum or diamond, whatever it is. They got one of the highest tiers. So I don't think they're putting too much fertilizer. I'll find out, but probably just watering it regularly, and it's in really nice shape. No goose shit, no bird shit on the docks where you walk.
Yeah, but I'm sure
It's beautiful.
they get goose shit, but I'm sure that they clean it up here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what? Yeah. All right. Well, whatever the reason
That was
is,
non-existent.
we don't have to contend with that. So that's one less thing to worry about or bitch or moan and complain about, because that never changed over there, and neither will it ever. I assure you that. Nice to see that blue sky. It's supposed to go away. This is the Canadian Thanksgiving long weekend. Again, don't know my American friends. I don't know why our Thanksgiving is in October and yours is in November every year. Just, I don't know. Harvest time, I guess. But it is the long weekend, Thanksgiving, which is traditional. Most marinas will start hauling out boats right after the long weekend. And because, the weather's turning. And we're supposed to have nothing but rain for the rest of the weekend. It's supposed to rain starting tonight. And then right through the weekend and getting decidedly cooler. And when I say cooler, I mean cold. Downright cold. They're actually threatening snow up north. Northern Ontario, that is. Wow, look at the water line of the boat. That's so scummy. And you know why that is? As a result of not running this boat enough this year, not using it enough. We'll change that next year. Okay, one more thing that I just recalled from our first marina down in Keswick. Not only did we have ginormous spiders and tons of duckweed, but we also had raccoons. Raccoons were a problem. I don't know, maybe it's just the environment where that marina was located, because it was more of an urban setting. So of course the raccoons are going to be attracted to garbage and food from human habitation, of course. But we had raccoons down there all the time. We even had a couple of our boating neighbors on 2 separate occasions had raccoons break into their boats when nobody was there. First one jumped into Buddy's boat while nobody was around and actually opened the fridge and helped himself to, I think it was Chinese food that was in there. Another time, neighbor actually right across from where he was, the couple went out on their boat on an evening during the week, I think it was, went for a little cruise, came back, went up to the fly bridge because he was driving from the lower helm, just to check or put away a cushion or something, and discovered that there was a raccoon up there, and clearly that raccoon had been with them for their entire cruise, so that was a little bit disconcerting. But we also have raccoons on the docks, living up in the rafters. One time there was a raccoon there. It was the end of the year party, and there was a bunch of empty beer cans all over the place, and it looked like he had gotten into them, and he was a little tipsy in the morning. As well, they would always get into the garbage cans. We'd find the little babies inside the garbage cans. You'd walk by the garbage cans, you'd hear some rustling at night, and yeah, there was raccoons in there all the time. Not only that, but squirrels. Our first sea ray, we had a squirrel get on board the boat during the week when we weren't there. And we had the little side cabin. I'll show you what it looks like on this boat because it was the exact same thing. Or sorry, the aft cabin had a little side window. The window was open, screen was closed, but he had gnawed his way through the screen, got into the boat, got into a bag of cookies, as well as a jar of peanuts. Made a mess and found his way out before we got there, luckily, but had to make a new hole in that same screen to get his way out. Of course, from then on, we always leave the windows closed. So there's always going to be something wherever you go. So this is going to be what it is. And we're not worried about it. I'm not, anyways. Yeah, look at that. Just only in a t-shirt. No shorts today, but a t-shirt. It had been really, really warm. It's freaking hot all week. Oh my, it's been so hot and humid. Again, it's like July. It's like the middle of July. It has been the last couple of weeks. But yeah, Mother Nature is saying we're done. And winter is coming. I know, don't use that word, bad word, but it is definitely coming. So I'm just going to wrap up this video today by saying, again, another question I had from a few people: if we're going to stay in this covered slip, how do they get the boat out of the water? What are you going to do? Well, that's coming. I've already asked to be informed to let me know when the boats start getting lifted, and Anita, the manager, co-manager of this facility, said that she was going to send me an email, let me know if she's got a chance to just say when the boats are starting to come out, because I've often been asked that in the past, even when we were at our last marina, because yes, we were actually hauled and lifted in a covered slip a couple of times with our last two boats. Majority of times just been with shrink wrap. So with this boat, it's going to be lifted, and I'm going to try, and like I said, Anita said she's going to try and let me know when the boat's going to be lifted, because I told her I would love to film it and share it with you guys, because it's a really simple, straightforward procedure. Back-breaking for sure for the boys that are going to be doing it, which ain't going to be me. And so yeah, I'm going to try and film that for you, and that'll be a standalone video. And with that in mind, one of the good things, which I think I pointed out in the last video as well, which is going to make my life, it already has, so much easier with the boat being lifted in the slip, no shrink wrap. This canvas stays on the boat. I don't have to remove it or store it or put it away, and I don't have to worry about it over the winter. I don't have to worry about getting to the boat as soon as it's hauled out to get the canvas off, finish my engine winterizing, because that's all done. All I have to do once this boat's out of the water is just open the seacocks, so they're open, drained away, and ready to go for the spring. So that is a positive thing, which one more item that is just so far already has made our boating life that much more enjoyable by being here. Okay, yeah. So anyways, that's it. I'm just going to show you around a little bit. The sun's come back out with those dark clouds in the background. It looks kind of ominous. And yeah, that'll be it. If you have any more questions about our experience here, or what you think we might want to share with you insofar as what we have to look forward to, because there's a couple other things as I gaze around that I haven't brought up, maybe in the next video, yeah, leave your questions down in the comments, and I will try to answer you either through the comments or on my subsequent videos. All right, so that's it for now. Hoo-ha to boating season 2024. Can feel it already. It's awesome. It's gonna be great. Really looking forward to it. So yeah, stick around. Lots more coming. Till the next one. Cheers.